Hi everyone, today we are looking at the new set of 126 coloured pencils from Arrtx. I already did an in-depth review of their original 72 set, so please go ahead and watch that if you want to know all of the details about how the pencils lay down and how they perform in general. But today's video is to show you the new colours and a few other bits of important information that you'll probably want to know. So the Arrtx pencils are, in my opinion, the best budget pencils you can buy. I used to say that about the Arrtx before I tried these. Arrtx do have a good colour range, but as for how they feel to colour, I have to say that Arrtx are definitely my preference. These aren't as soft and creamy as Prismacolor, not much is. But if you want something like a Prismacolor but cheaper, you can't go wrong with Arrtx. Even the names are similar, and in some cases they're the same actually. So if you're a Prismacolor fan, you'll find it easy to identify these. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Arrtx pencils originally came in a set of 72. They've added an extra 54 colours to make up this new set and made some changes to the original colours and the packaging following some customer feedback from the first set. So here is a chart that I bought off Etsy. I'll put the link in the description, and I've highlighted all of the brand new colours so that you can differentiate them easily. There were a lot of yellows in the original 72 set, and many of them were incredibly similar to each other. So I'm happy to report that Arrtx have taken this on board and made some changes to the yellow family. They've replaced yellow chartreuse and shortbread with a new blue and purple. So they've taken those out completely from the yellows, which is great because the yellow chartreuse was almost the same as the lemon yellow, and the shortbread was pretty much identical to sand. If I just show you here, there's shortbread and sand from the original set. And then we've got the lemon yellow and yellow chartreuse, and there's just nothing in it at all. So they've taken those out completely, and they've also made that change in the original 72 set now. So if you do buy that smaller set, you will be getting those colours removed and the new blue and purple in there instead. So the new chromium yellow deep, this one here, is just slightly lighter than the sunburst yellow below it. And the cadmium orange light is a much needed pastel orange colour. A lot of people tend to go to peach as like a pastel orange, but I don't see it like that. But this is a really, really nice, very light, delicate orange colour. But what I really need to do is sort these into colour families to see if there are any gaps in the blends, like I did with the Prismacolor and the Polychromos family charts. And I do hope to do this soon because these pencils are going to be heavily used by me from now on. I love them. So I need to be able to sort them all out in my own view of what goes where. And of course, whenever I do that chart, I'll share it for free with all of you when it's done, so you can download it and get swatching as well. So we haven't had many additions to the reds and oranges this time around. We've got scarlet red and chili pepper, and they're quite close in tone. And despite the addition of the Perylene violet, which is a lovely colour, don't get me wrong, it's just too violet to really be classed as a deep red. So what we really need is an equivalent to Prismacolor's Crimson Lake. There's nothing as deep and as true of a red as that here. Now we do have some more peaches as well, which is handy for skin tones. And I'm glad to see an extension to the red violet range. So we can seamlessly go from pink through to purple now, which is great. Mayan violet is a gorgeous colour, and it sits right on the edge of dark pink to violet. I love these light red violets as well that we've got this time. The wisteria really reminds me of the greyed lavender from Prisma, and it makes a great quad blend, all these colours around it. So that's a really nice blend to have. And don't forget that Prisma have now discontinued their lilac and lavender colours for reasons completely unknown to me, because they are fantastic colours and very popular, and I can't fathom why they've removed them and left rubbish colours like electric blue and cobalt hue in there. But that's a rant for another day. I'm very worked up, you can probably tell. But Arrtx's lilac and lavender, so lavender's here, lilac's up here, they are pretty good dupes for those discontinued Prismas. So, you know, at least we've got those. We do have a few new purples here, but I would have liked to have seen a very light blue violet colour, sort of like cloud blue from the Prismas. Now the pastel blue here that they've added, it is lovely and it's very light as well, but it doesn't have any violet in it at all. So I think that that is lacking from the purples up here. If we could take, say, this imperial violet colour and then just knock it a few shades lighter until we got a pastel colour, that would be perfect. So maybe something for Arrtx to think about when they're expanding their colour range again, if they ever do that. So you can see at a glance of the chart that they've added more blues to the range than anything else. Now in the original set there were a good amount of blues, but almost all of them were violet in tone. And I'm a sucker for a nice blue-green, and that's the category that thankfully they've built on here. We've got a lovely trio of the Helio Turquoise Light and the Peacock Blue that make a great blend. And then we've got some lighter blues like that pastel blue, like the Cornflower and the Cobalt Teal, this one down here, which again was very much needed as most of the blues in the 72 set were very dark. A few of the new blues are very similar to the ones in the 72 set, so I kind of wish that Arrtx would have concentrated even more on adding paler tones instead. I do adore the new teal colours though, and I'm also really happy to have some more muted earthy greens that are quite desaturated in tone, and they contrast the vibrant greens really, really well. This chart is a little bit jumbled, but if I put this over these greens, you can see just how well these new pastel and lime green colours at the bottom slide seamlessly into those blue-green shades. There's a lot of new colour combinations that can be made now, which I'll try and do a swatch chart for at some point. So we've got a couple more of those mossy type greens here with the fern and the army green. And I really like the pea green as well, this one, as we were really lacking a shade to go in between the spring and the grass green. So we've got the spring green here, the grass green down here, and we were lacking that middle shade. So that's great that they've put that one in. So we've also got this old gold and antique brass, which pair absolutely perfectly with the ginger root from the original set, and also the Bavarian cream and the camel colours. They're absolutely fantastic, and it's one of the things that I love about Prismacolor is their in-between colours or mid-tones, the really unusual ones that aren't your standard bold hues. So I'm really grateful that Arrtx have added more of those in this time. As for browns, we've got a couple of terracotta tones that have been added, which is helpful when colouring skin, for example. And I particularly like the Mars brown because it's a very unusual colour, that one. It's kind of, it reminds me a little bit of chestnut from Prismacolor. It's a bit of a greyish brown, but also it does have that red undertone as well. So yeah, I really like that one. The majority of the lighter browns are warm toned, so it may have been nice to have seen some lighter cool browns here to complement the dark cool ones. So you see that all these down here are quite cool, but they're all quite dark. So it would have been nicer to have some of those light ones. I think camel, this one, would probably do as a pale brown if you were doing a blending trio with, say, light umber. Where are we? Where's light umber gone? I saw it a second ago. Where are you? Yeah, light umber and dark brown. So if you're going to put camel with that, you might just get away with it. But I am also glad that we've got a very dark brown now with this Van Dyke brown. So there have only been 2 new additions to the greys, and these are blue or slate greys. They're gorgeous colours, again, very muted, very subtle, but I can't help but mourn the lack of standard greys here. It was something I talked about in the 72 set review, and I'm sad to see that they haven't looked again at their grey selection. Instead, we've been given 3 new fluorescent colours, which in my opinion are utterly useless. The pigment is clearly separating from the binder, as all fluorescent coloured pencils do, and they're just not something that I would include in a set of my own design. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that. Get rid of the metallics, get rid of the fluorescents, and give us more greys and lighter tones. Overall though, I am happy with the new additions, and I do commend Arrtx for listening to their customers and making the suggested changes. Not a lot of companies do that, especially the bigger ones. I'm still angry at you, Prisma. And I still maintain that these are the best pencils you can buy that aren't classed as artist quality. They're actually on sale at the moment for just over £50 for 120 pencils. The standard price is about a tenner more than that, and 50 quid is still a chunk of money, but it's nowhere near the 200 quid that you would pay for a set of 150 Prismacolors. So now that we've looked at all the colours, I want to have a look at the packaging because there's been changes made here as well. I love the look of their boxes, but they're just not practical in my opinion. I think Arrtx have tried to develop something that's useful as well as simply holding the pencils for transportation, but I'm not a fan of the box. I put all my pencils in cases because it's so much easier to carry them around and to see exactly which colour you're looking for. Most of the pencils are hidden in this setup, and you know, aside from the tiny little swatch of colour you get on the end, you can't really properly see what colour you're looking for. So that's why I put them all in cases. And not to mention the foam insert that they sit in. I showed you this on the last video, and if you go and watch it to see all the details, you'll see it a bit better. But the foam insert that they sit in, it's precarious at best. They're a bit wobbly, it's not great. So they have made a little bit of a change to this. In the original 72, the foam little places, what are they called? Individual slots that the pencils went, they were a lot looser. So they have tightened up those slots a little bit, you know, and made them a bit snugger around each pencil, but it's still not ideal for me personally. So I will be decanting these into a zip case after this video. I also wish that they would have kept the base as one piece. Let me just show you. You can probably see the base is in two pieces. So I really don't know why they've done that. It means you have to hold the box at the bottom in case one side falls out, and it's not practical. I can see, you know, it's nice to be able to split them for like display purposes, but I would rather that they were inlaid in a tin so you could at least be sure that they were secure and you could see everything properly. So that brings me to the end of the review. It's a quick one because, as I said, I've already reviewed the properties, the laydown and the performance of these pencils in my previous video. So I just wanted to show you the new colours. Another thing I should mention before I go is that Arrtx have said they have changed the colour of the barrels to better match the colour of the core. So while we're here, let's just have a quick look and see if that's true. So I'm going to get my chart out. Now I know that all pencils aren't going to completely perfectly match the colour on the barrel to the colour of the core. You can never get it perfect. But let's just grab a few at random and see what we've got. So this one, what is this? This is Baker Miller Pink, and it is one of the new ones. So let me have a look. Here it is. So this is the barrel and the colour is above it. I would say, even though, you know, obviously it is the same kind of pink, the actual pigment that's on the paper is much lighter. This looks a little bit more of a red violetish pink, you know. Let's try another one. Let's see. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. See, I'm struggling to put them back in, and this annoys me. Let's try this one. What we got? This is light aqua. This is an old colour. So the barrel, yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Again, I think the swatches are definitely lighter than the barrel colour, but it's still, you know, I suppose it's still quite easily identifiable. We've got the Helio Turquoise Light, one of the new ones. That's this one above. Again, a bit lighter, but we're on the same lines. It is definitely the same kind of colour family. So will it be easier to identify them at a glance? I'll only know in practice, so I'll have to get back to you later on that. But yeah, I've put all of the links to buy these in the description, and I definitely would recommend them as they are very good pencils for the price point. Despite, you know, the few niggles that I think they could improve on, which they probably will because they seem to be very good at that kind of thing. I love them. I love these pencils. As I said, they're not as soft as Prisma, they're not far off, and they're a heck of a lot cheaper. So if anybody asks me what's the best kind of pencils to buy around that price point, what's the best cheap Prismacolor kind of pencil to buy, it's going to be this one all day long. So if you've got any questions, please do let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you've enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up because it bumps my video up the algorithm so more people see it, and subscribe to my channel for more colouring content to come. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.